You've brought us a really fascinating set of sources today, taking us far away from, the daily grind.
Yeah, absolutely. We're heading into a story that starts as one thing and becomes something else entirely.
Right. We're looking at excerpts from The Gray Pen, a search for love and history in the Andamans, or Dushar Kolam in Bengali. Our main character, Trisha, she's trying to escape what the source calls the dusty life of a busy city.
She's seeking solitude, basically, in the Andaman Islands.
Exactly. But this deep dive, it's not just about finding peace. It turns into this incredible detective story, unearthing a love story from, what, a century ago? Tied up with India's independence movement.
That's the core of it. Our mission, if you like, is to track how her personal journey just completely transforms. It becomes this historical investigation.
It sounds like a really unusual mix. Travel writing meets history mystery.
It is. We're following her path from the wide open sea, the beauty of the islands, right into the intense confinement of a prison cell. And it really drives home that history isn't just dates and big events. It's made of these deeply personal, often hidden stories and sacrifices.
Okay, let's start with Trisha's journey itself. Because her choice of how to get there seems really significant. She doesn't fly.
No, she intentionally chooses the ship. From Kolkata or Chennai, sailing for 3 nights to Port Blair's Hedo jetty.
3 nights. That's a statement.
It is. The journey is the experience for her. It's about slowing down, shedding that city pace.
She observes the gray water line, the stars you just don't see in the city.
Yeah.
There's a real sense of isolation, but maybe in a good way.
Exactly. It's about solitude, finding that quiet space. And it's deliberate. The source mentions her shutting off her headphones.
Oh yeah, I remember that part. To listen to the sea's whispers.
Right. Wanting to listen to what the inside says, how much remains unsaid. And that phrase unsaid, that really echoes through the whole narrative, doesn't it?
Is it purely personal, or is there maybe a hint of something else? That's the route prisoners took, isn't it?
That's a really insightful point. The text suggests her primary goal is personal escape, finding quiet. But yeah, the choice of transport, even if subconscious, immediately connects her to that darker history.
So she's literally following in their wake.
In a way, yes. It sets up this theme of endurance, the slow approach, mirroring, perhaps unintentionally, the journey of those forced onto those ships.
Okay, so she arrives. And does she find that peace she was looking for?
Initially, yes. Absolutely. The descriptions are beautiful. Walking around Henniger Beach, the damp smell of the forest, the silence. Well, almost silence, just birds and waves.
And it feels like peace, not loneliness. That's a key distinction the source makes.
It is, but then the story introduces someone else. Panic.
The local guide. Described as having this real love for the Andamans in his eyes.
Yeah, and he becomes crucial. They explore places like Chiriatapu, the mangrove forests, and Anik tells her he's going to show her something different.
What does he say? Something about...
He says he'll show her the lost history of the Andamans, which only the sea, the fishermen, and the trees know. It shifts her perspective.
So he's the bridge from tourist to something more.
Precisely. But before they dive into that history, there's one more moment of just pure natural wonder, her first time snorkeling.
Near Havelock Island, seeing the coral, the fish, described as a colorful dream.
Yes. And again, that idea of silence, but this time underwater. A silence full of feeling, full of life.
That contrast is stark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because right after this vibrant, silent life...
Boom! The mood shifts dramatically. We're taken to the Cellular Jail, Kala Pani.
Infamous. And the silence there is completely different. It's heavy. Impressive.
Absolutely. We need to pause on that name, Kala Pani. Blackwater. It wasn't just a prison. It was designed by the British Empire to break people, to erase political dissenters fighting for independence. It was the end of the line, physically and mentally.
The source says the walls still seem to hold tears and roars. You can almost feel the history.
Tales of rebellion, incredible sorrow, but also this quiet, defiant self-sacrifice. It's palpable even in the description.
And it's in this intense atmosphere that Trisha feels this pull toward one specific place.
Yeah, it's almost magnetic. She stops in front of a rusted iron door. The label says C13, entry prohibited to personal cells.
C13, and it's off limits.
Right, forbidden. But she goes in, slips inside this dusty, empty cell. Now, we should probably acknowledge she's bending the rules here, right? Entering a restricted historical area.
Yeah, the source kind of breezes past the ethics of that.
It does. The narrative definitely prioritizes the discovery, suggesting that sometimes you need to go beyond the official plaques to find the real story, the hidden history.
And what she finds Wow. It justifies the risk, at least in the story's logic, tucked in a broken brick corner.
A letter, handwritten, in Bengali, dated July 26, 1933.
Not just any letter. This is like a message in a bottle, but from inside a prison cell.
It's incredibly powerful. Starts, Dear Nilu, and then this line, if anyone ever reads this letter, know that I am still waiting for you. Just gut-wrenching.
He talks about the suffering. The night descends as fire, and the day passes drawing your face on the walls. It's so vivid.
But then there's this defiance, too, this core belief. Love is not imprisoned. Signed, your Himant.
Love is not imprisoned. I mean, think about that. In Kala Pani, designed to crush the human spirit, he's asserting that love, his connection to Nilu, is beyond their reach. It's political in a way.
It absolutely is. It's an act of resistance using emotion, using connection, and then the story connects it back to the present.
Through Anik, the guide.
Exactly. Anik reads the letter, and the connection is immediate and personal. Himant, he realizes, was his grandfather's uncle. Oh, yes. Imprisoned for his role in the independence movement, vanished into the system, never heard from again, until now.
So this historical site, this symbol of suffering, suddenly becomes intensely personal for Anik and for Trisha's journey.
It completely reframes everything. Her search for personal peace now feels secondary. She has this connection, maybe this obligation to Himant's story.
And the story doesn't stop there. That first letter holds a clue, right, for finding more.
It does. A beautifully cryptic clue mixing love and landscape. If this paper falls into your hands, look for me on the island the color of evening.
The island the color of evening.
Yeah.
Sangyadweep. Sounds mythical.
It does. But again, Anik's local knowledge is key. He knows the place. It's not just poetry.
It's a real island.
It's Param Island officially. Apparently it's rarely visited, kind of mysterious, and it genuinely turns this deep crimson color at sunset. Sanyadweep.
So Trisha, who came looking for quiet, is now on a full-blown treasure hunt, guided by a century-old love letter.
Pretty much. They hire a small trawler, and they time their departure specifically for the late afternoon.
Following Himant's instructions, to see the island turn color.
Exactly. The source even mentions the waves reflecting that blood-red color Himant hinted at. It's very atmospheric.
And when they get to Param Island, Sanyadweep, what's it like?
Dense forest, mist, silence again, but a different kind. And this smell described wonderfully as wet history.
Wet history. I like that. They find something.
They find ruins, an old hut or structure, and on the walls, more evidence of Himant. Carved lines of Bengali poetry.
What does it say?
Where the leaf falls silently, there my name calls. It's like he's embedding his memory into the island itself, using nature and words as his marker, not some official monument.
It's incredible self-documentation. Defiant, again.
Absolutely. And near this structure, they dig, and they find it. A tin box.
The treasure.
Containing an old manuscript, a faded photo, presumably of Nilu, and a second letter.
A second letter. What does this one say? Is it his final message?
It feels like it. Written for Nilu, but found decades later by Trisha. He tells her, Nilu, if you ever come to this island, know that I was not defeated.
Wow. Even in isolation, maybe after years, he insists he wasn't broken.
He continues, I did not see the face of freedom, but I searched for you in captivity. It connects his political struggle and his personal love right to the end.
And then there's that line about love changing form.
Yes. Love does not disappear, it merely changes form. It's this profound acceptance, maybe? A realization that even though his future was stolen, the essence of his love and perhaps his fight for freedom endured in some way.
So the manuscript they found in the box, it's more than just poems and letters.
Oh, much more. The source is really clear on this. It's not just personal writing. It's presented as a vital historical document. It represents the voice, the articulate, passionate voice of so many freedom fighters who were silenced at Kala Pani, whose stories were lost.
He had used words as his ultimate resistance. They locked up his body, but not his mind, not his spirit.
That's exactly it. The poetry itself becomes proof of his inner freedom. His work embodies this dual commitment, freedom for his country and the freedom to love Nilu. He shows that you can't truly imprison someone whose will is tied to these huge, transcendent ideals.
Is there a specific poem mentioned that really captures this, one that resonated with Trisha?
Yes, there is. It becomes almost her anchor point for understanding Himant. The lines are, I may be imprisoned, my will may not be, but my words, They are birds. They will fly. They will sing.
My words, they are birds. That's powerful. He found his freedom in writing.
He did. He entrusted his legacy to nature, to the possibility that someone someday would find those words and understand.
And Trisha was that someone. So what happens next? She has this incredible find.
The final chapter is about responsibility, really. She returns to Kolkata by plane this time, interestingly. The slow journey was over.
A faster return, maybe signifying the completion of that internal journey.
Perhaps. Her main action back home is contacting the Indian National Archives.
To preserve the manuscript.
Exactly, to ensure it's preserved, studied. That Hemant's name and Nailu's story move from being just a family memory held by Anik's relatives into the official historical record. He joins the ranks of those forgotten heroes.
That feels like the right ending for Hemant's story. But Trisha keeps something.
She does, a very human touch. She keeps the 2 original letters and 1 specific poem for herself, a personal connection to the history she uncovered.
And does she find her own peace in the end? The thing she went looking for in the first place?
The story suggests she does. There's a final scene where she's by the Ganges River in Kolkata, looking at the sky, and she has this kind of internal conversation.
What does she say?
Hemant, I told your story, you did not disappear, you flew, and then about herself. And I found release in the words you wrote. Her peace came through connecting with his struggle, his words.
What an amazing narrative arc. From seeking personal silence to amplifying a lost historical voice. A journey that finds peace not in escape, but in connection and remembrance.
It really is, and it leaves us with a pretty significant thought, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, if this incredibly important story, this testimony of sacrifice and love, nearly vanished, hidden in a crumbling prison wall, documented through poems on a remote island, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other foundational stories of our past are just sitting there, unread?
Hidden in family attics, or maybe in unexpected geographical corners.
Exactly. How much of our history, the real lived history, is still waiting to be found, perhaps in places we overlook every day? What stories are you walking past that might hold a key?
That is a deeply provocative thought, a reminder that history is everywhere if we know how to look and listen. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the hidden currents of love and history in the Andaman Islands.